5 minutes of extra billable time. And the interesting thing about this technique is we all already know what it is. Back in my late 20s, I'd worked in security awareness for close to 10 years, never giving much of a consideration to what a real career path might look like. Until one day, I'm at a wedding having one of those random conversations, you know, the ones that start late into the partying, there was somebody you don't really know, and we're putting the world to rights. I'm telling her all the things that aren't working in my current role, and how people keep telling me I should leave. And then she drops this question that just totally silenced me. She said, all right then, what's your plan? What are you going to do next? Not long after that, I met my business partner, and instead of telling me I should leave, he engaged me in a conversation where we started to imagine what a different future might look like. And for the first time ever, I really considered what I would do next. Those initial conversations led me on to many more with people all over my network who facilitated the process of change. Some people encouraged me and motivated me, and others cautioned me and told me horror stories. But fast forward 12 months, and I'd made the decision to sell my house and start up Layer 8. Now, I've been told about the need to change over and over again, but it was the conversation that was the catalyst. Why? Because it was the first time the possibilities of what could be were meaningful to me. Because my interest had been stimulated. Because the people that I spoke to along the way facilitated the change and made it easy for me. And because now the outcome was something that I really, really wanted. Back in security, some of these things may start to sound a little familiar, particularly when we're talking about things like phishing emails. We tell people about phishing emails, but they still click on the damn link. We talk about the need to change and the evidence to change over and over again, but we're very slow to see change in behaviour in security. I mean, we are the people that understand the threat landscape, yeah? We understand the risk to our business. Yet how often are we asked to prove return on investments? How many more times this year will we be called into the boardroom to try and get buy-in for something that is supposed to be our responsibility? How often are we going to go through this perpetual loop of presenting the evidence of the need to change and not seeing a change in behaviour? And crucially, how can we move our employees from knowing what they should do to actually doing it? So let me talk to you about that technique I promised. Back in 2014, an energy company used this technique. It resulted in them saving over 5,700 metric tonnes of CO2 emissions going into our atmosphere. In 2015, the NHS used this same technique to improve caring conversations with patients at care homes. And in 2016, we first used this technique at Openreach. It resulted in us gaining over 600 security champions, all volunteers, and directly reducing the cost of cable theft to the organisation. The technique I'm talking about is conversation. But as you can see from the slide behind me, I'm not now talking about random conversations. I'm talking about specific, well-structured conversations about security that directly result in change. We start off by establishing the core values of an organisation and its people, and go through a methodical process of understanding what are the strengths by asking questions like, when things work well in our business, why? What makes them work? Change is then delivered through using two key aspects, through building on those strengths rather than looking at the weaknesses of an organisation, and collaborating with the people who are there to design and change the behaviours. Now, crucially, because we're working with people at the grassroots here who are ideally placed to change the processes and norms, we get to see an accurate and clear view of risk in the business, and an accurate and clear view of what has changed, so that things can be acted on and measured. Well-structured security conversations using this technique will make security meaningful to people. They'll engage people because there's context. The collaboration will facilitate the adoption of the new behaviours and make the outcomes more desirable. These were all of the things that I got from my initial conversations that got me out of my old job and to set up Layer 8. And they are also key stimuli that psychologists recognise in the process of change. Now, change can be complicated. I don't know how many of you have studied change theory. It can be complex. But change is what I wanted to deliver to anybody that I work with. And conversation is such a rich medium, it can deliver many aspects that are required as part of the change process. Unfortunately, these days, far too many security employee awareness initiatives remove conversation. But when we remove conversation, we remove our catalyst for change. I have to say that again because it is the most important thing about what I'm speaking about here today, and why so many awareness initiatives don't work. When we remove conversation from our security awareness toolset, we remove our ability to change people's behaviour. So now you understand why I said this is a technique that we all already know about. It's the integration of conversations into our security awareness programmes. If anybody wants to talk to me at the end about exactly how you can integrate well-structured conversations alongside your existing awareness initiatives, come have a chat to myself or one of the team. So at the start, I promised you an extra 45 minutes of billable time. And if I have done my job well today, I hope to have convinced you that the use of conversation has a greater impact on people's desire and ability to change. So let's have a look at the maths. If you talk to 25 people for 15 minutes each, now be grateful guys because you get an extra 5 minutes than I've had today. So you talk to 25 people for 15 minutes each. Those 25 people talk to another 25 people for 15 minutes each. Now 650 people in your organisation have had a conversation about security. And instead of them taking 650 hours to complete their 1-hour e-learning package, the organisation has now taken just 162.5 hours of people's time, and things are starting to change. Imagine using that as your return on investment metric. The final thing that I wanted to say, because I am very limited in my 10 minutes for time, is we have put together a behavioural change resource pack that goes into the processes that we use in a bit more detail. It's got a copy of the OpenReach case study in it. It's got an awesome white paper that a load of my colleagues have helped put together, and a couple of free awareness initiatives. I think I said that already, didn't I? But download the pack, come and see myself or one of my team, and we can give you the access details to it, and you are free to use it. If you can't stop after my talk, we are here till the end of the day, over on stand 1014. We would love to have a conversation with you. Thank you very much.